Asian Power magazine recently caught up with AREVA Senior Vice President Mr. Gerhard Seyrling to talk about power in the Asian region.
Well, the Asian transmission and distribution companies, the largest challenge they are facing is the huge growth of electricity consumptions, which is higher than the GDP growth. Actually, it's driven by the GDP growth and by the increase of population, and furthermore the increase of the percentage of people that have access to electricity. This is why there is a very strong growth, and this is a huge challenge for them. And I would secondly, and in parallel to this, they have the challenge of moving their today's production to a low carbon mix production and to start the integration of renewable energies, hydro, wind, solar or biomass. And all this move brings a huge challenge on the electrical network, on the transmission and distribution network. They need what we call the smart grid or smarter grid to be able to realize all these changes in the energy production and bring this new mix of energy production to the end users, to be able to integrate these renewable energies, integrate this growth, and transmit and distribute this energy. That's their main challenge. It is very difficult from a stability point of view. And they need to develop very modern software tools that pilot the electricity network, what we call the network management systems, in order to guarantee in every case of network situation the stability of the network. These tools that we develop, they give prediction of the energy that will be produced, and they give the real-time situation of all the energy sources, all the distributed energy sources, and they allow to the clients the right decision-making in terms of stability in order to avoid any blackout. That's a real challenge they have. Yes, we have many examples. First, in Asia, we can very strongly support the Asian clients, because overall Asia, AREVA T&D has very much industrial localizations. Actually, all of our type of productions and all of our solutions are built locally here in Asia through industrial localization that has been made. Now, examples, we have many examples of integration of wind farms, onshore wind farms, offshore wind farms, and tools that allow to pilot these wind farms like a large power plant. And these network management tools are very, very present also here in Asia. And just for an example, in India, for example, nearly 100% of the energy produced is managed through the network management systems made by AREVA T&D. Well, as I said, they have a huge challenge on the volume, and furthermore to the volume of the energy produced that has to be transmitted. They have a huge challenge on the distance between the place where they produce the energy and the place where the users are. And for this, they need ultra high voltage solutions. They work at very high voltage levels, roughly 1,200 kilovolt AC currents and up to 800 kilovolt DC currents in order to transmit the energy with low losses over a very, very long distance. This is what we call also really the highways of electrical energy. So their challenge today on this network is to have a very strong network with a high power transmission on very long distance on ultra high voltage. Well, the challenges for these countries are actually a little bit different, and they're very interesting. Vietnam has a situation that today the electricity production is increasing, driven a lot by the industrial investment which is happening in Vietnam. And following this investment on the production, there is logically also an investment on the transmission and distribution network. But as you said, they have also the situation of rural areas where very few electrical network is today existing, and a lot of developments have to be done. Similar situation in the Philippines, with a particular characteristic of the Philippines, which is one of the countries that has a lot of islands. And the question is how on all these different islands the electrical network will develop. Now, technically, both for the rural question in Vietnam as well on these islands, there are possibilities to develop microgrid solutions, which I would say another top issue and priority questions, I would say, from the smart grid evolutions. Technically, it is feasible to build small micro networks in these regions punctually where we need electricity network, which has the possibility to integrate renewable distributed generation in small quantities in these areas. The challenge for this in both countries, I would say, is the economic equation. What is the situation of cost and possibilities of investment in these rural areas or on these islands to really create these microgrids and create small networks for these populations? Actually, innovation is at the heart of the strategy of AREVA T&D. And in the innovation in AREVA T&D, I have particularly to mention all the developments towards smarter grids, towards the smart grid solutions. There is a very strong investment in research and development, roughly 250 million euro per year that we spend on solutions for ultra high voltage equipment, which we need, as we said, for India and China typically, and also on network management systems, either for large networks or for very local networks such as microgrids. And these are the main subjects of the innovation which is running today. Maybe one more to be used, to mention, is the development of a lot of new power electronic devices that are here to enable the integration of distributed generation, and which allow to have a high quality of the energy produced by these systems. Well, actually, in these 22 years that I'm in this business, many things have changed. But what is the most important change, and which happened in the last years, is that the different countries on all levels have understood that the electricity network is a strategic asset of a given country. In the past, the focus of the governments, of the politics, was very much based just on the number of productions, number of power plants, and there was not so much concern what is my strategy to bring the energy to the end user, to the individual end user, and how to involve the individual end user in this use of energy, and how to involve his personal wishes and let him actively make a choice in the way he uses the energy. And here I would say there is the strongest change that happened in the last year, and that's the basic of the smarter grid evolution, is that it becomes really a strategic asset with a lot of investment and with possibilities that till the end user, the individual person, there is a possibility of choice on the consumption.